to Chop Greens. I'm your host, Philip Emmer, and sitting alongside a very befuddled, like Luke Wright. How are you doing, sir, besides being befuddled?
Not sure what I'm befuddled on.
Well, the big trade just happened, which is our whole main topic, which is what we're talking about, so I just had to start it out some way, and befuddlement was the natural way to do it, naturally.
Well, I was a lot of befuddleds for describing me when I'm not really befuddled about this trade.
So would you say that you're on a level of 0 to befuddlement? You're like befuddled?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's probably a little bit closer.
Probably a little closer. All right. Good. All right. So you're coming over. You're driving over for our podcast. Yes, that's actually a potbelly iron. Or a potbelly oven, excuse me. I didn't grab potbellies for lunch today, so I had to bring over the oven. So, but anyways, for those of you not watching, I have a salt shaker potbelly oven.
Is it a salt shaker?
It's a salt shaker that I took the salt shaker thing out of. So now it's empty.
Okay.
Cast iron. I theoretically could make an omelet in this, should I want to.
No, I don't think you could.
Or a nice little shake. Anyways, you're driving over, asking me if I want any Taco Bell. Said no, thank you. But all of a sudden, breaking news, ESPN, Fox News, 538, everybody. The Boston Celtics have acquired all-star point guard Kyrie Irving from the Cleveland Cavaliers for point guard Isaiah Thomas, forward Jay Crowder, center Ante Zizic, and Brooklyn's 2018 unprotected first-round pick, according to sources. Close to the source. From a source.
Reported first by Shams, I believe.
Yes. Luke, let's just start off at the base of this tree. Your first off reactions.
My first off reaction was Cleveland won this trade pretty easily.
Really?
Yes.
Explain the ways. Count the ways and tell it to me as if I was a 5-year-old.
As if I don't already think that. But anyways, the Cleveland won this trade in a few different ways, in my opinion. One, they won it in the short term. Because while Kyrie is better than Isaiah and Jay Crowder together with a good end of rotation center now is better than Kyrie. Because Isaiah is going to give you pretty much everything that Kyrie was going to give you, and now you can add another elite 3-and-D player with Crowder. And while, like I said, being able to build up some size in that front court. And
for Boston, just as a quick aside, Jay Crowder was their LeBron stopper.
Yeah.
So it's an addition by subtraction specifically for Cleveland.
Yeah. And then not only do they win short term, they win medium to long term as well, because they can start to build the picks back up that they had traded away to try to assemble this team. They now have I'm going to say top 3 draft pick next year with that Nets pick. At worst, top 5. Right. Because that Nets team is just god-awful.
Come on. How dare you disrespect D'Angelo and whoever else is on that team.
Yeah, exactly. D'Angelo, by the way, I'm going to call my shot right now. Most improved player of 2018. He's going to get like 35 minutes a game. He's going to probably average well over 20 points, 7 assists. He's going to start tricking people into thinking he's an all-star level point guard. And while I do think he has the potential for that, I think it's going to kind of be
on the line.
It's going to be a little bit of he's going to be getting all the stats for that terrible team.
So he's kind of going to play that Buddy Hield role for the Nets.
Not exactly,
okay.
But okay. But on the flip side of this trade, you have
long term.
Yeah. Flip side, Boston gets worse, and they trade away one of their valuable assets going into the future for a point guard. While yes, you can try to say, well, they're not going to trade for him. They're not going to trade for Kyrie if they can't guarantee Kyrie will sign there. The fact is, you can't guarantee anybody will sign anywhere at all. But it's not like Boston can offer them any more money or offer him any more money. It's not like he has any sort of emotional connection to Boston. So, I mean, really, you traded away all of this for a year, I think, of Kyrie, maybe 2?
No, he's on contract for 3.
Is it 3 or is it 2 and then an option?
Let me check out his...
But either way, you have him for this current contract, and realistically, you already had a version of him who was shorter, albeit, but the same concept. Someone who's going to come in and drop 25 points a game for you and somewhat facilitate your offense, and that's about it. Because Kyrie Irving is a very overrated point guard. He can score, he can handle the ball, but he's not going to run an offense. He's basically going to get you 5 to 6 assists because he's going to be able to just create. He's going to be able to create space for them as he attacks lane and draws in defenders. So overall, it's not like Kyrie's going to benefit your offense that much more than what Isaiah would.
So looking it up, he has 2 more years.
Is that including an option? No option at all?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's no option at all. The only thing that he's eligible for is for an increase if he triggers the Derrick Rose rule where he wins an MVP for 2014 and 2015 to trigger it.
He's not going to win MVP,
yeah.
So
there you go. But I'm just saying. And then actually, I think he gets a 15% trade kicker.
No, he waived that.
Oh, he waived that to do it. Okay, so there we go. I'm just reading off this spot. Okay. So let's just count the ways. 1, I do believe Boston gets better. How better is the thing, and in an interesting way, it helps us to see where kind of solidify Boston's plan here. It's interesting that this was the route that they chose because they've had so many other roads to go down. They had skin in the game on the Boogie Rose. Or I'm sorry, the Boogie Cousins trade. They had skin in the game on the Paul George trade. Skin on the game on CP3, maybe.
I don't know if they were. I don't think they ever had skin in that game.
Okay, but still, the point is that they've been bantered about for a lot of different trade opportunities for big players moving just because of I feel ridiculous saying it, but just because of the assets that they've acquired that they can now utilize.
They almost signed Blake Griffin.
Almost, and that would be an interesting addition. But be that as it may, now that they've gone down this road, they didn't add, they subtracted to get better. And that's an interesting road to take when you have the most unique mix of young and older players that I've seen this side of maybe the Los Angeles Lakers of Showtime. Because you have...
did you watch the Los Angeles Lakers of Showtime a lot growing up?
I've seen documentaries. The point is that since that time, there really has not been a lot of influx of young and older talent mixed like this team has. We've got, we used to have Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford. Now we're going to have Gordon Hayward. But since they traded out Isaiah Thomas, they're almost committing to this older crowd, and now we're at a mix of what do we do with Jaylen Brown? What do we do with their number 3 overall pick this year? It's a very, very interesting dynamic that it makes me wonder if that they're going to stick to this plan, and then now they're going to kind of trade a little bit more and a little bit more because now you're pretty much capped out. The only way to move up is to dam the salary cap to where it is and just continue to move up and up and up with the pieces that you have because you're never going to be theoretically, you're never going to be under the cap again. It's interesting to see whether or not they give up all that they have as with... I'm missing... Who did they draft this year?
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. I always want to say Jaylen Brown. It's just the J part of it. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum... What they do with those two players, how big of an impact they can make as soon as possible. And Kyrie Irving, I don't know how smart it is to take away what you had, which was a good to great point guard in Isaiah Thomas, and just trade him out for a great point guard when there's such a plethora of great point guards in the league. If you do this with Al Horford, you trade a good to great center for a great center such as Boogie Cousins or Marc Gasol, or pick your poison. That's a much more valid trade to me of an upgrade to where this seemed almost unnecessary. You're giving away assets to make yourself better at what you are, and it doesn't help you where you were weak before.
And again, going back on it, why would you give up so much for Kyrie?
Part of it was they had to, right? Because like we discussed, Isaiah Thomas has such a minimal contract that it's both an additive to any team that wanted him, but it's also hard because then you're having to co-inflate sending a great player at a minimum contract but having to make those salaries match with now somebody else, and you're forced to put a Jay Crowder in here to make the deal work.
Well, but not just that,
Not just Jay Crowder.
The problem is Cleveland had literally no leverage here. They had none. Like, Kyrie didn't have any sort of trade clause, so he couldn't give a team leverage. Boston, like we've been saying, didn't need this particular upgrade. They could have lived without it, especially without giving what they gave up. So I'm just saying, to me, it was weird to see them give up so much for a position they didn't particularly need that much. At best, I think 2 years, because I really don't think that they re-sign him. I think it's going to depend on what happens these next 2 years, but they didn't need to give up the draft pick. Throw in Jaylen Brown, and then use that draft pick to replace Jaylen Brown.
Right.
Like, to me, this was just not a good trade for Boston.
And last part on Boston here. You're pretty convinced that Kyrie won't re-sign. And it's interesting when he says he's looking for a team to be his own, right? He wants to be the man. Kind of go down the list. You have a lot of ambivalent players on that team, or at least outwardly so. Al Horford, Gordon never seemed to be alpha male dog.
To be fair, he was in Utah.
I know.
You didn't really need to be an alpha dog in Utah.
But the point is that it's questionable even here that he'll be the main man, because there's a lot of good pieces around him, but I don't know that he's even necessarily above and head and shoulders beyond the other players. And if it's true, going off of what your lead is here, that they won't be able to re-sign him, it almost self-destructs their whole entire rebuild plan that they've hatched, that they've carefully managed throughout this entire process, that everybody's lauded Danny Ainge for. It almost self-destructs that and implodes all their future plans of when they finally cash in their chips. The big piece that they went for doesn't give them a championship, because for the next 2 to 3 years, it's Warriors, Cavs, it's Warriors, Cavs for the next year, and then beyond that, it's wherever LeBron is.
I'm not even sure if it's going to be Warriors, Cavs this year. Warriors, yes. Yes. Warriors will be there.
So you're implying that it might be the Celtics themselves?
I think you might be able...
Don't you do it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think that other teams such as the Wizards, Boston, maybe not as much Boston right now, but I think the Bucks, depending upon how they develop, if Jabari Parker can stay healthy...
The Bucks are very interesting because while I would disagree with the Wizards, because I would argue, where did they improve? I could say this. I theoretically could say the same thing with the Bucks, where no big pieces were added, but where they improved is experience and just getting better with time of physicality.
This year they needed Bradley Beal to step up more than what he did at the end of the playoffs, but also Otto Porter's continually getting better, and also for the Bucks, they're gonna have Jabari Parker back. That alone is an improvement.
No, of course.
But I'm saying these are teams that, because now when I look at the Cavs, here's what I see.
Yes, so let's transition to the Cavs. How this shakes them.
Here's what I see for them now, and here's what I see them going forward.
Okay.
Is one, right now, it is back to LeBron putting the team on his back every single night. Because I don't think he's going to necessarily let Isaiah have the same role as Kyrie. Because he was trying to groom Kyrie. I don't think he cares at all. Because I think he's leaving after this year. He's going out to LA. He's going somewhere. He's done with Cleveland. I didn't think that this would be the case a year ago, but I see it on the writing on the walls more and more. So I don't know if LeBron and Thomas and Love are all going to really mesh well together. And if I'm Cleveland's front office, I start trying to trade away everybody. Halfway through the season, if I don't think I stand a shot, I start trying to trade everybody.
Stand a shot as in?
Against the Warriors.
Okay. Just making sure, because the more than likely they'll have a shot at winning, going to the finals.
Yeah, they definitely have a shot at going to the finals. I just don't think it's a for sure thing. If I'm sitting, 4th or 5th seed halfway through the year, I start trading people. And I start getting as many picks as physically possible. Because that's Cleveland's future going forward. Is now that Kyrie's gone, and now that LeBron is not staying, regardless of, even if he does stay, LeBron's getting older. LeBron's proving that he can't win a finals by himself. So you need to start rebuilding regardless of how you're doing. So I trade Love. I would try to trade Thomas because I think he also has 2 years left on his deal, and he still has a relatively favorable...
No, he's a free agent after this year.
He is?
Yes.
Wow. Time moves by fast.
Yes.
But, okay, well, then I try to trade him out for a rental or something, or I keep him just
he is a rental.
Yeah, he's an expiring contract that you can trade.
Okay, here's a question. I think it's pivotal to any argument being made for or against your point. What do you see Jay Crowder as on this Cleveland Cavaliers team in regards to the Warriors?
He's your KDE stopper.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought too. So now what that means is that everybody moves a peg down. No, what?
I changed my mind. He's not your KD stopper.
What is he?
He's your Curry stopper. You put the younger, more athletic person on Curry, and then LeBron guards KD. And then you hide Isaiah.
Well, one thing that we're not taking into account, which I don't know, I think most people oversee it, but there are injury issues that have been in the past for this Warriors team that have just not shown themselves. And I'm not wishing injury onto them. I'm not projecting that. What I'm simply saying is, with that history in mind, we've seen KD and Steph both have injury histories, not so much as Klay Thompson or Draymond. But with the two main pieces of that team, I don't know that it's not possible that one of them goes down for the season, and then now it does become a competitive series.
I mean, yeah, Curry's
it's interesting with IT because
you gotta hide him.
You gotta hide. The one thing with Kyrie was, even though he didn't play defense, if he wanted to, he was capable of just getting in front of somebody,
getting in the way. He's 6'3".
IT, he'll give you that. It's the reverse. He'll give you that energy and that defensive mentality, but it just means nothing. His height is such a disadvantage, and it's through no fault of his own. No. But it's such a disadvantage that he is reduced to just an offensive player, whereas Kyrie chose to just be an offensive player. And so in that sense, you're really not getting anything out of that deal except lowering your ability to one-on-one stop Steph. But with the addition of Jay Crowder, you get an option to choose who you want to switch off on, who you want to have stop Kevin Durant, and who you want to stop Steph Curry with. And it's interesting to think that the piece in this puzzle theoretically could be Jay Crowder. He could very much be the J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert of this year's Cavs. Back when the Cavs first came out, and LeBron came there, that Iman Shumpert J.R. Smith deal, even though J.R. Smith was the throw-in of the deal, it was monumental to that mentality of that Cavs team and constructed that championship roster.
Crowder gives you the 3-point shooting you want from JR and the defense you want from Iman.
Right.
But
in one person, so that you're not having a liability on the floor.
But in general, though, Curry had his ankle problems when he first came in the league for the first couple years. I want to say 2 years he was struggling with it, maybe 3. Kevin Durant, he's always had weird injuries, but he's never really had to suffer from them in the playoffs. Or at least not those later stages. So, I mean, yeah, it is theoretically, but on the flip side, I mean, LeBron tears an ACL. Again, we're not hoping or wishing this upon anybody,
right.
But injuries happen. If LeBron tears an ACL first game of the season, Cleveland immediately has to go into sell mode because there's no way they're winning.
It's the IT complex is going to be the case study for which we should all pay more attention to. While we're focusing right now on Kyrie, eventually that attention is going to get shifted over to IT. Not only is he a free agent after this year, it's going to change the diversity of that team where, like you said, you pointed this out beautifully, LeBron was willing and able to give Kyrie that leadership role, at least in the regular season. In the postseason, he served more as a closer role, and it's one of those things. If you're fed breakfast and lunch, you're more susceptible to just eating dinner later on, right? And it's fine as long as there's that sharing complex. If LeBron succeeds his role to IT, just like he did with Kyrie, and takes more time off, gives it to Jay Crowder. What happens, however they want to manipulate that. It's going to be interesting to see how that gels by the time the playoffs come around, what role IT can successfully fulfill, and how, really, let's ask the question, was last year a premonition of what IT we're going to see, what we should expect going forward, or was that the apex of what we've seen of IT? Is that the ultimate version of IT, never to be recreated again? We're only, you can only hold him to somewhere in between the best and the lowest we've seen of IT, Isaiah Thomas.
I think you could definitely make the argument that was his peak.
I would agree.
I can't see, I definitely don't see him being any better.
No.
He could theoretically be roughly the same, but he's definitely not getting better. And again though, you gotta look at who he was playing.
What's problematic is that his best version of himself was with the ball. And the best version of LeBron James, which is, nobody's going to deny this, the best version of LeBron James is better, way better than the best version of Isaiah Thomas. But the best version of LeBron James is with the ball.
Yeah, and again, another problem you're coming up with is you're trading 2 point guards who can't run an offense. All they can really do is facilitate a little bit when the defense reacts to them.
Right.
It's not like a Chris Paul or specifically Steve Nash was, I think, the ideal person who can manipulate the defense to do what he wanted. Isaiah and Kyrie weren't those kind of point guards. They were I'm going to do whatever I want, and if I'm in too bad of a spot, I'll pass out to someone open.
Right.
But that's it.
And that was part of... I hate to take credit for this, but I saw this. And I saw that Kyrie... Really, everybody was focusing on Love, but Kyrie to me was more of an unnecessary commodity.
Expendable.
Yeah, it was very perfect. Expendable. He was completely expendable on that team, to where as long as you have somebody who can take the last shot, that replaces Kyrie. That's what his most valuable asset to that team was, and what you're hoping to get from Isaiah Thomas. So now the question becomes, can Isaiah Thomas repeat what he did? No, we both agree. So at the very or the very least of what you can successfully ask of Isaiah Thomas, can he be that shot maker at the end of the games that LeBron will probably need with a team that good in the Warriors?
Can he? Yes. Is it going to matter? No, it's not. Cleveland's done. Their super team's over. This is the end of LeBron's championship chances.
This is the Sleeping Beauty dragon with a sword in its belly.
Yeah, it's over. Like, I don't know how long it'll take for everyone else to catch up, but the LeBron era is over. I will go on record as saying that right now.
You almost have to be more definitive than that, though.
Even if he goes to L.A.,
right,
he's done. He's over.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because only
he will never win another. He will never win another title.
Oh, that's what you mean by that.
That's
I
what
disagree
I mean.
with that.
You don't think he'll win? You think he will win another?
I think he's certainly capable of it, especially if he goes to LA, where he has major influence and a young influx of stars. And the older version of LeBron is probably the best aging superstar we will see if he wants to be. His game is more prone to being adaptable to old age and not being a physical game. But like Michael Jordan just didn't want to. And my biggest question with LeBron going forward is how dedicated he'll remain.
Here's the thing. When he goes to LA, because I do think he'll go to LA.
I think that's the money bet.
But when he goes to LA, that team's going to be too young to win. By the time that team is old enough to win, LeBron is too old to win. And they're going to be paying him a lot of money, and he's going to be taking up a lot of minutes, and he's not going to be productive, but enough, I still think he'll be more than productive enough to warrant starting spot, but he won't be productive enough to win the title. Because I just don't think that LA team is going to develop fast enough for LeBron to win a title. And he might be able to jumpstart that with Paul George, but I still don't see Paul George and LeBron with a couple young second or third year players at that point being able to topple.
Well, no, that's not fair. Julius Randle will be. I guess he will be third. So I'm sorry.
Julius Randle.
I was thinking of Julius Randle, which will be what. He probably won't be on the team, to be honest with you.
He might be, but he'll be like a fourth year. But I'm referring specifically to Ball and Ingram, who will be second and third year. So I just don't think that...
Well, he'll have another person with him. It's assumed that it'll be Paul George, but it could be Russell Westbrook. It really wouldn't be Russell Westbrook.
LA only has enough for 2 max contracts.
Could be Boogie. They don't have a center.
I don't think LeBron wants to play with Boogie.
Yeah, that's true. They don't really have any ties. They've never been rumored to that.
Well, not just that. I just don't think he likes Boogie.
The Anthony Davis one. If he plays with Anthony Davis, are they done?
I don't think they'll play together. Anthony Davis is staying in New Orleans for a while.
Oh, I'll take that bet.
Didn't he just sign the big contract with them?
You're still 2 years behind, buddy.
Am I?
Yeah, everything.
I only
still got like
contracts
3 years left, right?
Every 2 years.
No, Anthony Davis signed it about 2 years ago, and I think he's got I believe 2 more years with a third year out.
I don't think he's going to LA. Especially because I don't think LA will wait that long for him.
Oh, but I'm not saying that they would be free agency. They could very easily trade for him. I mean, those rumors have been around that people.
Who's LA gonna? They love Ball and Ingram too much, I think, to trade him.
Right,
and they don't have any other assets to trade for.
They have the following year. They have what is this upcoming year? 2018. They have 2019 available.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And then plus they could trade them Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson.
Okay, but New Orleans is going to be able to give him so much more money, and I don't think that they have enough assets. I mean, maybe if Anthony Davis,
it's plausible.
It's plausible. I think there's too many variables. Okay. I'm just talking about from generalities.
Okay.
I mean, you can sit here and you can construct. Well, what if KD goes and he takes less money with Russell Westbrook taking less money?
I
can sit here and give you a super team.
Okay, fair enough. But I was trying to think of realities because there's, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of things that have been validly been rumored around. Who's movable, who's not moving. I'm not saying if Marc Gasol, retires and unretires. I don't know. But okay. So we've gone how Cleveland fits, how Boston fits. You think that the winner of this trade is by far and away Cleveland?
Yep.
So with LeBron leaves, and that's what we kind of both agree on. If all they're stuck with is just that one third pick, which is a top 3 pick from Brooklyn, you still think that that's a win, even though that they traded partly for Isaiah Thomas, which is part of what makes this deal so great is that it's a win now and win later. It's not that really, and one could argue that it's too divided, where you're losing a bit of both, and if you already know LeBron's going, which I think we all understand, aren't they still losing in a way?
I mean, I think they're still winning the trade.
Okay. But just by that in itself.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. by getting that pick, you start to secure your future. Like, we all know they're not going to be good. When LeBron leaves, they will be bad for several years, possibly 4 or 5. But you at least start to be able to get the pieces together. You're able to use that. Because like I said, that's going to be minimum top 5 pick. You can trade Love and get another first rounder. You can trade away Jay Crowder and you can get some good pieces for him. You can trade away, or you're going to be cutting J.R. Smith, it will be gone. Shumpert will be gone. Tristan Thompson's somehow going to be gone. Whether it be somehow losing a trade to get that terrible contract off your books that you should have never given him, or some other way. But you're going to basically be starting over with the fresh start, and the key to it will be that Nets pick. So I think it will be long term, but I do think that Nets pick is what makes this trade to another level for Cleveland.
And it wasn't the Lakers pick, which I think we would both agree is more than likely, barring, again, injuries, who knows, but is more than likely going to be the worst. Or in that order, the Lakers will be better than in the standings than the Nets will be.
It's better to have the Nets pick.
Yes. In the land of what ifs, I'm still kind of sad actually that the Suns did not pull the trigger on the Eric Bledsoe, Josh Jackson trade. That's probably for me a more even trade that I think would have imposed more what ifs. But this one's fun too. Sending Isaiah Thomas, a former MVP candidate, to Cleveland in exchange for now Kyrie going to an Eastern Conference Final team rival. It's a very interesting dynamic that I think will have a lot of fun storylines. One of which you pointed out to me with the video game.
Oh yes, Kyrie Irving was the cover of 2K18, but of course he was wearing his Cavs uniform.
Right.
So now I'm wondering, is 2K18 going to have to recall all of their copies or send out new covers, or are they just going to? If I was them, I'd just roll with it. I'm not.
Well, there was that year with Madden that Brett Favre joined the Jets. And he was just right there.
Yeah, in Madden 10.
Right, and he was still on the cover as a Green Bay Packer.
Yeah, I'm not spending all that money to replace it. People will know.
People will understand. History will be kind to us.
Yeah,
and really, Kyrie forevermore will be associated with that Cavs team. And in 20 years, when they have a reunion tour of the Cleveland Cavaliers winning it all, he'll be there.
You think he's going to be invited to that tour?
Oh yeah, I mean Cleveland. There's not as much outrage about this, nearly as much outrage as would have been had they not won. If Kyrie leaves them high and dry. Yeah.
Everyone in Boston still hates Ray Allen.
He was the third peg. I mean, he was like the scapegoat of that team.
Everyone hates him, and he helped them win a championship. Without Allen, they don't win that title.
This is just a different dynamic. It's one of those... Cleveland was so thirsty that just a little taste, and now they're good.
Everyone on that Cubs team last year will be a Chicago hero for as long as they live.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't even matter that Kyle Henderson is garbage this year.
Nope, doesn't.
Just
you mean Kyle Hendricks?
Hendricks, I'm sorry.
Not Henderson.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What did you say earlier? Hendricks, the center. Who was your center on the roulette reel?
Oh, I said Hassan Reddick. When it was supposed to be obviously Hassan
Whiteside. Yes. We all make mistakes in this business, but we'll call each other out on them. All right. Interesting trade. We'll definitely have it covered more as the season comes along. But next, give me 5. Following this commercial break. Give me 5!
Red Ribbon Realty Group at HomeSmart is a full-service real estate team of Phoenix natives with over 15 years of experience in the industry. When you work with them, you have 2 full-time realtors representing your best interests throughout your entire transaction, whether you are selling, buying, or renting. They also believe in supporting their community. Use code word chopped greens and Red Ribbon Realty Group will donate 15% of their net commission from your transaction to the nonprofit charity of your your choice. Visit their website at www.redribbongroup.com and find them on Facebook. You can also email them at info@redribbongroup.com or call them at 602-888-6638. Red Ribbon Realty Group. Trust. Commitment. Home. It really can cook an omelet, I swear to you.
It cannot.
It could.
There's no way. You couldn't fit the yolk in there.
Have you not seen Cutthroat Kitchen?
I have. I watch it on a semi-regular basis.
They had to cook an omelet in like one of those like egg hard boilers.
Yeah, that's bigger than that.
That's not bigger than that.
Yes, it is.
No, you cannot fit an egg in this.
Yes, you could.
There's no.
Wait, no. The other. Yeah, I'm saying that's smaller.
Oh, well, yeah. But I mean, it'd be a baby omelet.
I swear to God.
Okay,
how are you going to get that omelet out?
Magic. This is Gimme 5, the part of the show where I've got 5 questions for Luke. He's got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we will answer them honestly. Luke, would you like to go first or second today?
I'm going to go second.
Second. Excellent. All right. I'm going to start off in the sports world, which we don't actually normally do in the Gimme 5 segments. But, sports writer Peter Vexi, at Peter Vexi1 on Twitter, finally fired back at Magic Johnson's taunt at him from 2011. The Irvin Magic Johnson's tweet read, "Is Peter Vexi still on TV? That's right. No, because he wasn't very good." This is back in 2011. Peter Vexi just responded last Sunday. "Clearly, words from someone dumber than a stump." Luke, that is levels of pettiness that I just do not possess. I could not wait 6 years to think, mull over, and finally tweet this golden response of a dumber than a stump response, because I'm just not that petty. You, however, I know have very petty historical backgrounds. What is the longest amount of time you have held a grudge?
The longest amount of time that I've held a grudge. See, I didn't act on a lot of the grudges.
Okay, but you're still like harboring.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I have several.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint me in this.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm good at harboring grudges.
Your pettiness level knows no omelet.
I would have to say, back in, let's see, I'm senior in college now, so this was over a decade ago.
Wow.
There was this kid named Mason. Mason was this kid that I went to elementary school with. I want to say it was like 3rd or 4th grade.
Oh, that's my David. I have an arch nemesis named David.
He wasn't even my arch nemesis. Nobody at my school liked him. Literally nobody. And so I remember he was just kind of annoying to everybody. And at one point, he like got into a fight with me over like a hula hoop. Like we were coming in from recess, and so of course, we were playing like kickball or something.
Oh, of course,
and
kickball.
We were bringing in the equipment, and one of the things we used was like a hula hoop because I think we didn't have any bases at the time, so we were using the circle of the hula hoop as a base or something like that.
Right.
And he was like trying to like physically fight me over it. And, like, I, like, punched him in the stomach, and I took it, and I just went in. But, like, ever since that particular day, I went out of my way to be petty and just unhelpful to him in every conceivable manner. You name it, and I would make sure that it didn't help him. I would purposely, like, look at him coming to the pencil sharpener and then sharpen as long as I could to fill up that bottom so it was so full of shavings he couldn't properly like sharpen his pencil. And I just did tons of just petty stuff like that all the time.
God bless you, my child.
Thank
you for coming to confession.
I try.
Until next time. All right, your turn.
Okay, so as we are well aware, Kyrie Irving was traded today to the Boston Celtics for a few players in the draft pick. My question to you is, if you could force one trade on any team, whether it's NBA, NFL, whatever team you want, what would that trade be?
By far the easiest question. Mike
freaking Trout needs to get out of the fake Los Angeles Angels. The fact that you have the best player in all of baseball and you're doing such an absurdly bad job and injustice to that player.
They're in the wild card hunt. They would have been better if it wasn't for the fact that they had a lot of injuries this year.
God, it's such an injustice because even the past 3 years he's been runner-up every year that he's been eligible in MVP voting, and the fact that they've just been in the dumps through no fault of his own is just absurd, and so I would have them trade him to, God forbid, the Yankees or just whoever the heck wants to take him and actually justifiably play with him. So I say Mike Trout, God bless. All right. Luke, for 72 years, since the cruiser USS Indianapolis sank after being struck by Japanese torpedoes in the waning days of World War II, its exact resting place had been a mystery. But a team of researchers led by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen now says they have positively identified the wreckage 18,000 feet below the surface in the Philippine Sea. The sinking of the Indianapolis, on its return from a secret mission to deliver components for the atomic bomb that would be dropped days later on the Japanese city of Hiroshima, became the largest single disaster at sea in the history of the U.S. Navy. After delivering its cargo to the tiny island of Tinian, north of Guam, the ship was on its way to the Philippines when it was hit by 2 torpedoes from the Imperial Japanese submarines I-58 on July 30th, 1945. Indianapolis sank in just 12 minutes, with 300 of her crew going down with the ship. With few lifeboats, many of the remaining 900 faced death by exposure or shark attack, until they were spotted 3 days later by a U.S. Navy patrol plane. By the time they were reached by rescuers, only 317 of the crew of 1,196 aboard were still alive. Luke, what historical artifact do you wish could be found by yourself or otherwise?
So, this is a hard question for me.
Because you're a history buff.
I'm a history buff. My minor's in history. Before I came to record this podcast, I was in my later Middle Ages history class. So like history for me has just always been my favorite subject. So for me to have to be able to pick only one artifact that I could discover, oh, that's a toughie. That is a toughie.
It would have to be, pun intended, the holy grail of artifacts.
Yes, exactly. I think I would go with the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay.
It was a real thing. Obviously, some of the other things about it
associated with it have been exemplified.
Yeah. But I think I'd have to go Ark of the Covenant. Just because I think that it was one of my favorite stories from the Bible growing up. And I just think it'd be really cool. So I can say that, like, if someone ever asked me, like, where's the Ark of the Covenant? I'll be like, it's being guarded by top men. And if someone tried to ask, I'd be like, top men.
Underneath the chompies?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'd have to go Ark of the Covenant.
Alright. Sounds good. Your turn.
Well, speaking of Ark of the Covenant and painful ways to die, because of those who don't know, if you looked at the Covenant, your face would melt off. Or if you drank the Holy Grail, you would age to death, like that, like a snap.
Yes.
My question to you is the opposite. What would be your ideal way to die? For me, it'd be in my sleep.
Right.
Very cliche answer, I know.
Of course, yeah. It's funny that you say that because my biggest fear is how I'll die. So, in a way, it's not that I fear death itself. It's just I fear how I'll die because I don't want to be tortured. I don't want to, be able to half walk or, be crippled or something and just prolong my death. So I think I've thought about this, and I think the best and only real answer of this is to die on the battlefield of Old Country Buffet and die eating those delicious rolls. One of them is just a little more doughy than the next, and in the construction line of just shoving them in there, I die. You know, it's just it wasn't meant to be. I was finally bested by a foe, and hell fell well met. That's got to be the best. Luke, marathon runner Roger Macmillan gives a whole new meaning to the phrase "over the hill." The Fort Saskatchewan man has conquered a few of them over the years and will be celebrating his upcoming 80th birthday in October by running his 100th full marathon this month. Reaching the milestone has been a personal goal for Macmillan since he completed his first full race at the age of 69. Quote, I got in some big ones. I did New York, I did Dublin a couple of times, and then I set a target. I wanted to do 100 marathons before my 80th birthday, and that's kept me going, end quote. Macmillan's 100th race was the 2017 Edmonton Marathon on August 20th, and he became an official he will become an official octogenarian on October 3rd. Excuse me. Luke, is this the most impressive feat that could be accomplished by one considered to be a senior, and if not, what would be?
I'm not sure this would be necessarily.
I mean, it's pretty impressive.
No, it's 100% impressive. I couldn't run.
If I'm still running by the time I'm 80, I mean,
I couldn't run a marathon right now.
That's very true.
Yeah, so I mean, it is definitely one of the most impressive things you could do just in your life.
Right.
Running 100 marathons. That's 2,600 miles.
Testament to you that your body's held up that well.
I think that's 26. No, that's like 260 miles. No. That's 2,600 miles, right? 100 times 26, that's 2,600.
100 times 26? Yeah, that's 2,600.
Yeah, okay. Journalist major. Math's not our strong point.
No.
But yeah, so it's hard to imagine because people age differently. That might have been physically impossible for other old people.
I mean, I personally find it really impressive when you see, a senior of some sort graduate from college. Like, that to me is just knowing that what I have to go through, but especially just I can't imagine learning. Because I mean, my sister, my younger sister, the way that she does math. I'm like, I could tell you how to get there, but I can tell you what the answer is, but I have no idea how you got there.
Yeah.
So it's impressive to me that you can now go back and learn through a new scope.
I would say climbing Mount Everest.
Okay.
Would probably be the most impressive.
Now, what happens if you don't make it down? Is that still impressive?
No.
Okay.
No,
you have to make it up and go back down.
Up and down.
You don't get half credit on Mount Everest.
No half credit.
All right, goes to you, bud.
So I have always been a fan of board games.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I just don't really find a lot of people to play board games with because nowadays everyone wants to play electronic games.
You're an old soul.
Those darn video games, which I also love as well. But just I'd like to always sit down and play a good board game. Okay. I just wish I had more people to do it with. So my question to you is, what is your favorite board game?
I love Risk. If I have to go board game, which is the qualification here, Risk, the original. I don't like they have these newer combined maps where there's less of it's more even and fair. I like the old, there's only two ways into Africa, one way into Australia, Risk maps, and that's probably my favorite. I love world domination games.
I've only played Risk once, and I want to play it more, but again, it's hard, especially with Risk, because it's complicated. I don't even remember how to play it.
Once you get it, it's good. So, but yeah, that would be that.
Good choice.
Funny you should say. You should bring up those darn video games because Jurassic World Evolution has just been announced, and it is going to be fantastic. It has been slated to come out the summer of 2018, and it allows players to build their own Jurassic Park. It comes from the creators of the Roller Coaster Tycoon games, and for me, promises to fulfill a childhood wish, which is to create my own Jurassic World and manage a park full of dinosaurs, and let them loose if anybody critiques the prices of my popcorn. So, Luke, what is a childhood idea that you would love to see recreated on a video game?
A childhood idea that I'd love to see.
So it doesn't have to be like a board video game. It can be drawn from anything. You can just say, those lava lamp rulers that I used to have as a child were really cool. If I could just play within there or something. I don't know.
To be honest, I don't know, because a lot of my childhood ideas were already video
Have been
games.
already imagined?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like I was very big into the military things when I was younger, and I still am, just kind of to a lesser extent. You know, I'd sit there and I'd look at like a world map, and I'd be like, if I started here, this is how I dominate the world. And so stuff like that, kind of, you know, Rise of Nations, Age of Empires, Risk, in terms of board games, like a lot of games like that have already come out. So I'm not really sure. I don't have too many like original ideas in terms of like what I'd want to see into a video game. Maybe I would kind of love to see like it's kind of already been done, I'm sure, but like you start out as like a peasant in medieval times, and you gotta survive and work your way up to being a king. I think that'd be kind of cool. Okay, so this is kind of like it. I'd love to see certain animes and just TV shows transformed into good open world role playing games.
I think One Piece did that, right?
No, they don't have a good open world video game. One Piece has video games,
right?
But they're not like I love.
Structured.
Yeah, like I love to be able to be like, hey, here, create your own pirate, and now go sail the world, following this storyline. But it's an open world.
And
you can choose if you
find.
Yeah, you can choose if you want like a devil fruit or
right.
Without getting into the specifics of how One Piece
Speaking
works,
of the peasant one, I think the one that you're looking for, which kind of mixes with anime, is Fable.
Yeah, that's something similar.
Something about that.
Yeah, or really even Skyrim is kind of like.
It's kind of like that. When you said travel the world, that's pretty much Fable. Or I mean, I'm Skyrim. I'm sorry. All right, your turn. Your last one.
I have two more.
Your second to last one.
Okay. I am currently taking a Spanish class, which I absolutely hate.
Oh, yes.
But of course, the Cronkite School, it requires you to take 2 full years of a Spanish class in order to graduate. Mm-hmm. And since I would like to graduate and not have the last 4 years of my life a waste of time, I am taking Spanish.
No, you mean a mucho waste of time.
Yeah, accurate. But my question to you is, if you could learn any language...
Wait, this class should be easy for you. You love tacos.
I don't think I can just write taco for the answer on everything. But my question to you, if you could learn any language without having to go through the process of learning, you just knew another language, what would that language be and why?
It is cheap, but I probably would say Spanish just because it's so functional where I am. But if I'm just going anywhere, I'd probably go... It's... You know what? I'd probably go with French. Just because that is just so smooth. And you could just pull that out whenever you need anything. You could just be like, oh, how do you say, wrap this up for me? For Sears? You know, if you're going to buy something at Sears and you need them to wrap a bow on it, you just...
Okay, but you didn't say anything. So you just want the French accent?
Sure. Why not? But I could at least fake it better, because then I could, know words, and I could be like, how do you say, or no, I guess that's Japanese. Anyways, point is, yeah. So I'd probably go with French.
Okay.
Alright, my last one. Over her 10 years in the public eye, Kim Kardashian has been at the center of many, many rumors. So, being as media savvy as I know you to be, Luke, I'm going to give you some real rumors for celebrities, and I want you to tell me if they are rumors I adjusted to make Kim's, or if they are real Kim Kardashian rumors. Alright, so they're all real rumors, it's just whether or not they are specifically associated with Kim or not. Got it?
Okay. This seems like a very subjective thing.
Sure. Alright, well, just go with me. Alright, Kim Kardashian dated Blake Griffin. After being spotted in public with Blake twice in 1 week, rumors had come out that the two were in fact dating. Is that Kim or not Kim?
Not Kim.
That's true, it's not Kim. It's now actually Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner just this week has been seen with Blake Griffin.
There's a bit of an age gap there.
Yeah, but show me. Kendall, not Kyrie.
They're twins.
Kendall and Kylie are twins?
Yes.
Oh, see how much I know. Alright, next one. He's still going. All right. Left cocaine lying around her hotel room. After Kim posted a video on Snapchat, eagle-eyed fans noticed what appeared to be white lines on a table in the background and suggested that it was cocaine. Is that Kim or not Kim?
Kim.
That is Kim. It was just a marble table. Just the way it looked.
Sure.
All right. Dressing her daughter in a corset. After paparazzi photos were published showing her daughter wearing a dress paired with what appeared to be a corset, people lost their friggin' minds. Kim or not Kim?
Not Kim.
It is Kim. It was just a dress that was made to look like a corset, but it wasn't actually a corset, and who knows. All right, second to last one. Endangering her son. Kim shared a photo of her son a few months ago. People lambasted her for not putting Saint, who is under 2, in a rear-facing car seat. Kim or not Kim?
Not Kim.
Is Kim.
Oh.
And she said that he's above weight and height restrictions, so that way he could face forward. Last one, Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries were a celebrity stunt. In order to raise Kardashian's viewership in New York for KUWTK, Humphries and Kim married and divorced for Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Humphries and Kim married and divorced to gain notoriety within the New York area, where Humphries played with the Nets for. Kim or not Kim?
Kim.
Not Kim.
Was that Chloe?
It was Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart for Twilight. Everybody thought it was a celebrity stunt. It's been unconfirmed.
No.
And probably will never be, but who knows. And that's my Kim or not Kim. Goes to you, good sir.
Now it's my last question.
Yes, and did you know Kendall and Kylie are twins?
I swear to God. How did you not know that?
Who cared?
Like, what?
Who cares?
Did you think one was older?
I really don't even know how they're even sisters. I mean, they're Jenners, right? So how are they Kardashians? I don't know. I don't care.
I don't. Okay.
Okay.
If you could only eat at one restaurant the rest of your life, what would it be? I'm just jumping into this one.
All right, good to know. Note forward on this one. One restaurant for the rest of my life. Well, I want it to be multi optional, but so that's where I'm probably gonna have to go with Potbelly. The show starts and ends at Potbelly Stoves, but it would have to be Potbelly. Delicious food, even better drinks, and if nothing else, I can fast a couple weeks and just drink my drink. So I'm going with Potbelly. If I had to actually honestly choose, it'd probably be Anzio's, which is an Italian restaurant, which is so wide-ranging, and everything's good there.
Here's the problem with both of those picks.
Go ahead.
Neither have tacos.
Si habla español. All right. Well, thank you again for listening to another episode of Chopped Greens. For
Luke Wright,
I am Philip Amrine. Thank you so much for listening. And, of course, as always, you can listen to our old archived episodes on YouTube. Catch up with our new episodes on SoundCloud each week. Bye.